What is going on, everyone? My name is Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology Retold action, spawning in the left side of the map in the blue color, playing as Gaia. His name is Player. Guys, it's Player. Who remembers that famous match, Player versus who? On Oasis with Kronos. 10 points if you guys can name it. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Ra. His name is Matador. Now, this is a player I'm interested in. This is a player who has kind of been off my radar. He sort of got really, really high on the ladder during the Gaia, Thea kind of really cheap Contarius kind of Gaia just being way too strong, boomy thing, right? And I haven't really been watching him ever since. He kind of just played a bunch of games on the ladder with Gaia, just made a whole bunch of Contarius and just rode over people, literally. But I haven't been following him. But apparently, he is actually really, really strong, really well-rounded as well, according to a lot of different top players. And these guys are going to be playing these sorts of players quite a bit. Now, I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm excited about seeing this one here. Player, on the other hand, for those of you not well-equipped, not with full understanding, yes, he is the player who took on Arf Adafang on Oasis. Very, 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 very. I got that YouTube video somewhere. That's, for some reason, that one popped off on YouTube and just got a whole bunch of views. But terrible, terrible mic recording, terrible commentary from me. I think it was like 12 years ago. FDDCSJXK gets it. Nonetheless, we're on the map Oasis. How's this matchup going to go? We got two really boomy gods on a map Oasis, which tends to result into really boomy, a really boomy game. That being said, there are styles which can play into or metagame this sort of fact. The fact that you've got, if you know your opponent's going to go for a 3-town center boom, maybe you can go for like a 2-town center kind of early pressure strat, which will set off their 3-town center boom. Or maybe you can go for a 1-town center all in and go, wait, you're not supposed to do that on this map. Now, let me talk about why this map is so boomy. Well, the big reason is because I can put a temple here. So I got my mana here. I get my temple here, right? Probably goes about this big, is my guess. Right? And then from here, I build a wall. And now, if my opponent wants to attack me over here or over here, he has to either go straight through my base like this, which is not advisable. You might get building blocked and have a tough time. Or he's got to bash you up here, which is fine, but that's going to give your opponent time to react to that, send their army over there and start to defend you and prevent you from pushing through. So that's why this map tends to be very boomy. It's got nothing to do with the lack of food, because there's plenty of goats. There is plenty of... there's actually plenty of hunt now as well on this map, because you get a ton of zebra, you get a ton of animals over here, plus you've got the monkeys plus secondary berries up here as well. So there's actually, while not as much as Marsh, obviously, it's not a quote-unquote low hunt map at all, like just at all, right? Like, you could remember on Legacy that this map could potentially spawn 2 zebra, 1 giraffe and 2 gazelle, or 2 giraffe, and you can get what, like 10 goats or something each. So on Legacy there's nothing, but on this map, on Retold, it's not that low hunt. So these sorts of ideas can definitely work on this map, but you do have to be aware of that one factoid of this, and remember that for your own games when you're playing, to make sure you set that up. I'm sure we'll see these players do something like that as well. Relics on the map as the players are starting to advance. We do have the Chariot of Sibel giving you some lions. Gold lions, very, very useful. This relic is so good for early pressure, and also for just random defense for boomy sort of play. We've also got the Sharon's Obol here, which is going to be getting a little bit of resources back. Up on this side as well, we've got Svadilfari Sledge. This relic is possibly one of my favorite relics. 10 favor off my fortress type buildings, or 0 favor for my fortress type buildings, for my castle type buildings. Very, very exciting. Over on this side, we have the relic no longer around because it's been grabbed, and that is Scales of Octopath. Going to be making those myth units a little bit stronger. As we do see Matador here opting in to go for Sphinx. He's gone through Bast. Bast are very, very strong in terms of those Sphinx and what they can do during an eclipse. You have to be very, very respectful of the Sphinx. And you can see this here. This is really, really important when using the Sphinx. If you right click and use the special attack, and then you do not movement command after, you lose a ton of damage. It's really important to use that special ability and then movement command after. You can see, look at this here from El Matador. It gets him into position to keep on getting that damage done. Citizen getting very low. Great path blocking over here. Oh, the Caladria uses that heal on the wrong unit there as this El Matador Sphinx trying to get away. The Caladria might be able to pacify it. He might be able to catch up to it here. And as it looks like he's done that, he does manage to get in there, gets that final slap down, and this Nether Sphinx is in. Cryo Sphinx comes through, but one Sphinx for one villager. Which one's better? Probably the one villager kill is going to be, or the player who's got the Sphinx kill and received that villager kill is probably going to feel like he's in a better position because he's already on 2 town centers. You can see the villager differential right now is already well and truly in the favor of player, but second town center now up for El Matador. And player is going to have to be very careful in this game because, as you can see in the main base, 2 monuments here for El Matador. He can throw up a 3rd monument at any time. These Sphinx only cost gold here, just for those of you wanting to play at home. 120 gold, 18 favor. So very, very cheap. Means you don't have to get a whole bunch of food, but it does mean your gold is going to run out pretty quickly. You do see the Hieroko Sphinx going to get healed back up. As we see yet again, another little... And you can see exactly what happens there if you don't micro the Sphinx. He just kind of spins on the spot and doesn't get that damage done over time. As we see, great micro here from El Matador to get those kills. I love that idea. Shoot and scoot, basically, orb walking. If you guys aren't familiar with orb walking, I recommend playing just a little bit of MOBAs, a little bit of Dota, a little bit of League of Legends. Not enough to like make you hate yourself, but just enough to get that concept down, because you can do that so much in Retold. It's really, really fun. As we do have those villagers over here, we just see a nice little raid coming in. So 1 villager kill here for player at the very least, forcing El Matador back. This is a problem that I think a lot of players don't kind of realize that they can cause their opponents. Because like if you're getting raided by Sphinx, it can be very often easy to think that the best idea is to just sit in your base, but then that just means that your opponent can, for no reason, get out over here and start getting themselves little bits of resources in. As we do see, the hero citizens are out, ready to push that Sphinx back. 1 hero Terma going to come through here and get a little bit of damage in, as the Sphinx going to be attempting to get back in here, but too little too late. We'll have to retreat back away. Can't stay too close to the Terma hero here at the moment. Also leaving this, pick up the relic, damn it. Pick up the relic. Coffee is the essence of life. The essence of life is coffee. Anyways. Terma here getting chased down by these spearmen. The Terma can actually just outrun the spearmen by themselves, but if you're running with those Mamilla, you really have to split that party up in order to get away from them. Otherwise, they will take a decent amount of damage. As the Golden Lions are out, he can actually turn around and take that fight now if he so chooses. And we do see that El Matador decides to retreat back. No problems there. Now, here's the next question. When playing as Ra, when is the best usage of Eclipse? Is it A, when you have a whole bunch of Sphinx? Is it B, when you have a whole bunch of Heroic Age Myth units? Or is it C, when you have a whole bunch of Mythic Age Myth units? Or is it D, none of the above? There is a better use than all of that, and this is the reason why. Now, if you use it with your Sphinx, you obviously can then no longer... Well, if you use it with your Sphinx, you can put an earlier attack on. If you don't use it with your Sphinx, you miss out on that earlier attack. If you use it in the Heroic Age, you can get a really big attack with Siege units. That's really, really good as well. If you use it in the Mythic Age, you can use it with your mummies, and you can get a Ancestors Eclipse type thing, plus killing off a whole bunch of units with those mummies, And you can absolutely run over an army. There is a fourth use as well, which is using it with your Titan, which is very, very strong as well. Now, the best use, in my opinion, is actually something that Mister suggested to me not too long ago, which is use it with the Sphinx early to get some villager kills, get you the advantage. Then when you build the mummies, build yourself 4 or 5 mummies, make sure they don't die ever, and just wait till you get the 100 favor to get that second usage of Eclipse off. And then not only do you get the early Eclipse, you also get the later Eclipse. That is option D or option E. And that's, I think, is probably the best usage at the moment. But we'll see how the game's going to go. Armory's coming up in the main base here for player. He's already advancing through Thayer. He's getting himself those watchtowers. We are seeing those Sphinx still pushing forward. One hero, Mamillo, in here to get a little bit of damage done onto this one. But these Sphinx are getting a lot of good value here as the Citizen is battling to get in great control here from El Matador. Player's got to be incredibly frustrated with that because it's just like, I mean, what's the counterplay to path blocking with those Sphinx? The counterplay is retreat before the Sphinx even get in there. That's the only counterplay. If this is something that works every single time. Really, really nice play here from El Matador, though. As the units on the back here getting chased down, Spearman going to be poking ever so slightly here as player needs to get back home. We are seeing a whole bunch of those chariot archers starting to come through, and he's hiding them. I love that he's hiding them. You don't want to let your opponent know you're building chariot archers because it allows them to counter you. You want them to go into a unit that is different than this. In fact, it might be not a terrible idea to do something like build, I don't know, a handful of camel riders, send them out on the map to raid, and then be building chariot archers at home such that the counter infantry that your opponent builds, counter cavalry that your opponent builds, like Catapeltes or Mamillo, that then your chariot archers can take them out. Though I have been at the mercy of Catapeltes before with my own chariot archers not being able to kill them. Nonetheless, it is an idea. Especially if you can get yourself a couple of axemen to frontline for them. Anyways, we are seeing, cheeky little Oracle over here going to get sniped down. Bit of a mistake there from player to have that one over there. I'm actually thinking the best place for your Oracles most of the time are going to be on your fronts over here, and over here. And you also want to be putting them near a manor so that you can actually garrison in if at all possible, as we do see a cheeky little Citadel Center coming up on that side over there. Chariot archers slowly starting to push forward. Mermillo's getting taken out. And we'll see if player can figure this one out. Because El Matador, he's going to be getting himself good micro here. Wait. Does he have? He totally does. Someone told me you'd never see this micro in Age of Mythology. Someone told me it's impossible. What's the micro? Dodging ballistics. You have to wait until the arrow is in the air and then you move back the other way. Great micro there from player. Age of Empires 2 trick there. For anyone out there who's an Age of Empires 2 fan, you've got your little micro tricks in Mythology. Come and try it out and show us how it's done. As you do see those chariot archers over here going to be getting a little bit of damage, sniping down a Contarius and a Dryad there. But player is now going to be very, very well aware that El Matador is going mass chariots. And we are seeing him going into mass Contarius now. I wouldn't mind seeing him actually getting himself some cheeky little destroyers or anything like that as the villagers now over here garrisoning. Rain gets thrown down there. Villagers garrisoning into the town center. This is going to go down very, very quickly. Stimp Valiant Bird coming through here as well. As El Matador will have to retreat away. Meanwhile, the units here of El Matador are going to be looking for some sort of revenge damage here as the Contarius pushing forward onto those chariot archers, but player does notice that one nicely. Really, really good attack here from player. I'd love to see him actually push forward and try and throw a palace down on this after he takes it down, just to get that advantage, as we do now see the Eclipse coming in. You still have to do that movement command in Eclipse. It's so absurdly strong. Look, he's sitting there. We go. Look at how far he moves during it. It's so good. As the unit's now going to be moving over onto the town center. These Sphinx are doing 16.8 hack per attack, or crush per attack, 12.9 crush per second there. The town center is going to go down very, very quickly. Contarius trying to get in onto this fight here, but there's mostly just spearmen, and these Kontaris are going to get taken out very, very quickly. Meanwhile, in the main base here, we are seeing the units getting targeted down over here as well, but players forward Townsend are going to go down. Villagers attempting to repair this one back up as the Chariot Archer is going to be targeting those citizens down, whereas El Matador just retreated his villagers. Player hasn't, but he is going to be losing this one, plus all the citizens over here going to be going down as well, as those Sphinx pushing forward going to be able to mow down the villagers. Chariot Archers finish off the rest of those as well. Meanwhile, over on this position, though, we are seeing the counter raid coming through. Player is so good at finding other places on the map to get damage done, as Matador here retreats back. He's probably getting away with a little bit more than he probably should have. He does have that upgrade, Skin of the Rhino, which keeps his citizens very, very much alive and healthy. Eclipse still down here as one Sphinx ends up going down, and he's going to be retreating back for the time being. You can see, look at this, 73 favor in the bank. Get another monument down, especially in that empowerment chain. Get through Osiris here, start making a handful of those mummies, and then get ready for that next Eclipse. Can be really, really strong as the Spearmen here turning around. Those Arcus are completely unupgraded. To me, it's actually better to not build Arcus here, if at all possible. I want to build Murmillo. I want to build Murmillo with that divine damage that I've got from Bite of the Shark. That's what I want against those Spearmen, mostly. I mean, Arcus are good, but I don't want to mask them at all. As we are seeing the units are now back, and player will have to retreat back. We are seeing walls coming up. I'm still disappointed no palace down on this spot. He definitely could have got that, as we see the implode getting dropped. Is that the worst implode I've ever seen in my entire life? No, the units, they're still getting sucked in. Every single one of those Chariot Archers cannot get away there. There are a lot remaining, though, afterwards. A lot of HP remaining on those Chariot Archers there. No Priest currently out, though, for El Matador, so he's not going to be able to heal those back up, as we are going to be seeing the units now mustering up onto this side. Player can possibly push forward now over here and drop a palace on this spot as well, as we do see a handful of units coming up onto this spot, going to be attempting to deny the town center. Still, I'm waiting for that palace to just get dropped down on this town center. It's such a good way to play, as we do have our cheeky little Argus coming through. You've got to be careful of that. That little SFX, or not SFX, visual effects little thing there popping is when the big damage comes through on the Argus, as the units here getting taken down. We do see some priests getting cleaned up, Chariot Archers turning around, getting what they can do done over there as well, and we will be seeing player retreating back for the time being away from that position. Military barracks coming up on the front, as player wants to put some pressure onto here. He's got to be fairly mindful at this point of kind of what he needs to be targeting down. We'll see how things are going to go, as play going to be retreating back. He's still not at full population. It's a little bit of a too close population situation right now. In fact, there's way more units out for El Matador at the moment. He's at 116 pop to 73. And this is really, really important stuff to remember when you're playing the game. Just because you think you're close to pop and you're an equal pop or whatever, that doesn't mean you're actually equal on military. Very easy way to just see what your opponent's got is to just select and then select and go, oh, I've got way less than he does. Okay, let's pull back. Let's get ourselves going here. And the reason he's got so much more military is just because he's got no villagers out. Only has 56, which means you can just take those fights beautifully in terms and see how things are going to go. As you are seeing the units pushing in, going to be able to take down a watchtower here. Could probably also take out some houses on that side and cause some problems there as well. As we are seeing bronze mail coming through, or bronze armor coming through. Champion range soldiers, champion cavalry. The Osiris, though, is on the way. And this is the biggest, most scary part of Ra Bast, is that Osiris. But the big thing here is right now, El Matador has lost himself that monument to the soldiers. His favorite income is not that high. He's only going to be getting himself 0.1 and 0.12. 0.11, 0.12. So 0.23 favor a second, which it's going to take a while for him to get up to that 100 favor. 10 minutes roughly, or just under 10, like 9 minutes, right? Maybe less than 9 minutes. I don't know. As the army now going to be charging forward. Chariot Archers retreating back ever so slightly. And another tech here that player might want to wait on is fortified town centers. Because at the moment, he's just got such an economic advantage that he just does not need to throw it away on this military here in the slice. Great micro here from player. Definitely don't want to charge in onto those spearmen if you can't manage to get the kills in. As the army now slowly pushing forward. We are going to be seeing the Sphinx getting taken down onto that side over here as well. More Contarius charging through as they're also now starting to see some of those camel riders here. As the camel rider ends up getting taken out. Player going to be retreating back ever so slightly. And there's that Son of Osiris. And this is actually a bit of a scary moment. Son of Osiris is so strong as he does manage to take down those units on the front. We also see a town center over here is being grabbed by player to boot. He's just got 4-1 town center at the moment. He's still playing it really, really safe. The military population here for El Matador is keeping him in the game. But if player manages to engage and take a really good fight, which I think he's going to be able to do so now, he's going to be able to get so far in front. And we also have to check this out. Decent armor upgrades here for our main man player. So actually not bad armor upgrades either for El Matador. And he is microing this one nicely, but citizen or villagers on the front, they're going to be getting taken down. Son of Osiris is going to be coming over. Pretty scary bringing your Son of Osiris nice and close to those champion Arcus here as well, as we do have a cheeky little mummy coming through. That's going to be a bit of a pain there, as we are seeing the Arcus turning around, and immediately we see the Arcus going after that Son of Osiris. They're taking just a little bit of damage. One way that I like to use my own Son of Osiris is I put him into a separate control group. I always make sure he's on the back of my army, and I do a little defensive patrol. That way he's only ever going to attack those melee units on the front, and that will be able to allow him to never get targeted down by my enemy archers. But if you run him on the front here, he can take a lot of damage very, very quickly. And we see exactly that here happening as the Contarius get through in an attempt to surround that Son of Osiris. Not quite able to get the direction. There he goes on it, and Son of Osiris down, Tango down. And that is what I'm talking about. You've got to be so careful with that Son of Osiris. He is so strong. If you are wondering how strong, if you think 60 slingers is strong with that extra 1 divine damage, with electron bullets, Son of Osiris deals more damage than the electron bullets, 60 electron bullets slingers deals to a high pierce damage unit. It's like 80 damage per second the Son of Osiris does, because it hits 4 times with a lightning bolt. So it's actually a crazy amount. But El Matador does not control that one well at all, and player has to retreat back here as well. Meanwhile, over on this side, we do have the pallets coming up over here. I'm out here saying Son of Osiris is bonkers strong. I got people in the chat saying it's useless. I mean, yeah, if you don't use it well, it's useless. I mean, it's the same thing as like Lightning Storm. If you don't use Lightning Storm well, it's not very good. If you don't use Tornado well, it's not very good. If you click Meteor out in the middle of the map here and it just hits a whole bunch of trees, it's not very good. Right? You have to use your God power as well for it to be good. You have to control it. There's a lot of favor in the bank right now here for El Matador. He has been losing a lot of stuff as the unit's starting to push forward, looking to take down that Citadel center in the front there. We've also got the Fire Siphon coming onto that position as well, as players just like, I don't really care about your units at the moment. I mean, you can literally just charge in and kill all this. This is 26 Chariot Archers. I don't think that's enough to deal with the Contarius here. And in that moment, El Matador decides to tap out. Player with the victory. Incredibly good play here from player. Slow, methodical, map control, macro on point, micro with the dodging of ballistics. There was some really, really nice micro here. El Matador, great micro himself with those Sphinx, trying to get the damage done onto player. Really big lesson learned here against those Sphinx is that they can path block those villages very, very easily. So you've got to be paying attention. You've got to retreat early, otherwise you're going to be losing those. So it's not an easy unit to be playing against. And I think a very simple solution against those Sphinx raids would have been a wall and a wall and a wall, and potentially also on the other side of the map, maybe throwing up your own kind of wall to here, and then maybe getting a tree here, or like your Gaia forest here, and then walling down to the bottom, or something like that. Wouldn't have been a terrible idea to just completely shut down those raids. Nonetheless, player still gets the win. GG. If you guys enjoyed this one, please consider the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next game.